All right, good morning, sports fans. Our first lesson this week, or our first lesson of the online courses, we're going to be reviewing breakfasts. And I know in class, sixth graders, you made pancakes, seventh and eighth graders, you made crepes and waffles. And I've just got a sample out here. This is my crepe pan, and you don't have to use a crepe pan. You can use a regular griddle. I do have a small waffle maker. This one is kind of, I thought it was a fun little one, but as it turns out, you have to wait a long time for a lot of little waffles to be made. This was another bigger waffle maker that I have. Makes a heart-shaped one, which is kind of fun. And I will have the recipes out there as files. I do have a mix. You're welcome to use mixes. I like the Kodiak cakes because they have a little more protein and they carry me. I have to watch the amount of carbs that I eat. But what I'm going to do today for most of you, probably none of you, have this, but I'm going to try something fun, a little unique, because the whole idea this week is that you got to make what you have available to make for breakfasts. So I am going to showcase something different. These are Ebelskiver, and this is an Ebelskiver mix. My relatives know that they like to get me fun little things for the holidays as gifts, and this is an Ebelskiver pan. And I have brought it in before. This particular one is from Williams-Sonoma. You can get them online. And I'm also going to put out the Ebelskiver recipe because you're probably not going to have a mix. They are round little, if you can see what they look like. They are round little, they almost remind me of munchkins, but they are like a pancake. And I'm going to fill mine, I'm going to fill some of them with little Hershey's Kisses. I'm going to take some, this is a good one, you can put a little bit of red raspberry in or strawberry jam. You can also take cocoa and put it in the batter. You can also buy batter that is already chocolate. And I'm also going to take some berries because I like to fill mine with berries. So imagine a little tiny filled donut, but instead they're really pancakes that are filled. Right now, to prep this, I needed a cup of milk, so I've got my cup of milk there. You needed 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Don't forget, if you've got it, and it's all unsalted butter, but don't forget, if you've got it, to measure right on the wrapper. Just I cut 2 tablespoons off and melted it. And you have to have 2 eggs, but separated, because I'm going to whip the egg whites. And you can see that I've got a little egg separator here. So I'm going to get my yolks over there. The egg white's going to go in my mixer because I'm going to put that on high and whip that up. And you want to lock that and mix that on high. So that's going to go for 2 minutes. You'll see how that's going to go. But anyway, in the meantime, I have my 1.25 cups of the Ebelskiver batter. And what I'm going to do in this small bowl here is I'm going to take my milk. Sorry, my milk. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to hold this. I am sheltering in place by myself. And my egg yolks. And I'm going to take my melted butter and add that right there. And then I'm going to whisk this up gently. And then whisk it into my, Ebelskiver batter. Okay. And all right, so now I'm going to add it to my batter. Mix that up, and it does say whisk it together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with heating up my Ebelskiver pan. Now, some interesting background on this, because I did allow students, when they did a food demonstration video for me, I did allow them to borrow my Ebelskiver pan, and they found out this tends to be, I think it's a Danish type thing. You'll find these in Denmark, Finland, the Scandinavian countries, and supposedly the history has it. And I want to say that most cultures have some form of a pancake. Now you can see this is going to be a little thicker. Once I whip my egg whites up, I'm going to fold it in there. And I'm going to stop the video so I can because it's going to be too noisy for you to hear the whisking. But going back to the Danish folklore, or the Scandinavian folklore, is that supposedly, you see this odd little pan with the little holes like that, how this started was that back in the day that the the sword and the shields type day, that during battles when the warriors were out in the battlefield, their shields that they held up were battered from fighting and so forth. And what they did is they took their shields, because they were metal, they could use those as baking utensils, put them over the fire, and the pock marks from, say their enemies, gouging their shields during battle, they could use that to as a cook pan. So who knew? All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to fold in my whipped egg whites, but first I have to whip them, and it's going to take a couple minutes, so I'm going to stop. Okay, well, I'm going to show you that I have my Ebelskiver pan heating up, and I did spray it with a little bit of light canola oil. And while that is preheating, what I'm going to do is now take the egg whites that I whipped up with the whisk on the highest speed, just for 2 minutes. You don't want stiff peaks for this. You do want stiff peaks for some of your pies. But anyway, I'm going to take this and divide this in half. So I'm going to take the first batch. You can see all that egg white. That's just egg whites. And this is the folding. This would be a new term, but I'm going to fold this gently into my Ebelskiver batter. And what that does, so you can see I'm just taking that. I'm not mixing it up, vigorously. I'm just the folding. You just take that and just kind of scoop that around gently. And what this does is it increases the volume. The other thing is, if you make this from scratch, you don't have to. I am going to include that recipe, but you don't have to have cake flour, but it helps to have cake flour. It's got a lower gluten property to it. And so here's the other half. And it's just a little finer. And so my pan is heating up. Now the tricky thing about these is watching me get you have to take these little Ebelskivers, because they're little balls of pancake batter. You have to, it smells good. You have to turn them. And the fun thing is, when they give you this kit with the pan, you get a set of chopsticks. I've never been able to master the chopsticks. Okay, you can see me mixing this, so it's a little lumpy. But that's the egg white. It's just going to add air and volume. Yeah, see, I'm not mixing it up vigorously. I don't really want super big clumps of egg whites, because what will happen is when they cook, they become kind of dry and foamy. So I've got that mixed in here pretty well. The pan should be about ready. And I'm going to use my 1/4 cup measuring, and I'm going to turn that now. And I'm just going to take them and fill these halfway full, because then I'm going to put my toppings in there. And you can see I've got some chocolate, some of the big Hershey's Kisses. We like to make these during the holidays, and we like to get all the different flavors of the Hershey's Kisses and put them in there. Whoops, that one's a little full. You can hear them crackling just a little bit. If you recall, when you make pancakes, that you want that griddle. So I'm going to go like this and just pop some of these in there. And then what I'll do is I'm going to just cover that up, and that'll melt in there. Nutella's good in there. Any kind of filling, a little fruit. You can see I've got fruit back there. All right, I'm going to stop because I got to get the jam and the jelly. Okay, I've got some jam and jelly, and I'm going to cover the rest of these up. And the fun part is you watching me trying to takes a lot. It's a little, sometimes I wish I had a bigger pan or another pan, because when we do these during the holidays, it does take a while. Now the fun part, here are my chopsticks, but I really cannot. So I have to try to carefully, yep, see, there you go. I'm going to flip it like that. These are just fun little things to have, and I don't expect anyone to have an Ebelskiver pan or to have a shield with big pock marks like this. But just something fun, since we have done the pancakes, since we have done the crepes, since we've done waffles in class. Tell me, what's a breakfast at your house? Could be something completely different, or it could be a different version of a pancake that you like. I know somebody for their menu planning project that I put out a couple weeks ago, somebody made, I thought they were pancakes, but they are actually made with a cornmeal. Okay. Some of these are a little big. I overshot it here. It's oozing out, but you can imagine how good these would be too with a chocolate batter or like a cocoa batter. Remind me almost a little like brownie bites. Okay, so that's that. I'm also going to try and make some blintzes because I found that I have cream cheese on hand. They're very rich. I want to say like German origin maybe, or Belgian. But anyway, so that's that. After I pull these out, oh, I find this is also fun trying to do with one hand. But you can see, doesn't that remind you of a pancake? Good. You can put syrup on these, and I'll put a couple of these on a little plate so you can see what they would look like. Also, do me a favor, when you send me a video of your breakfast, there we go. Send me a video of your breakfast, plate it up nicely. I'm gonna just let that cook just for a second there. But anyway, so you can see like that, I could put a little bit of syrup on that. And that's that. All right, so you see a finished plated Ebelskivers, and I'm going to take the final touch of that. You can take some confectioner sugar and set them like that. And normally what I would do is during the holidays, I would go back and make a whole nother set, but they would be a cocoa base because I have a daughter that really loves the cocoa with the raspberry. So that's that. So make me your breakfast, plate it up nicely, and shoot me a video, and we'll see what is it you like to make at your house. Pancakes, waffles, Ebelskiver, crepes, or something totally new.